As contract talks continue between Stop and Shop and its nearly 40,000 employees, one of the 5 unions representing those employees has contacted the company and told them at 3 p.m. today they have authorized the use of some sort of work action. That action could be a strike or possibly a walkout. However, right now, UFCW Local 371, who represents thousands of meat, seafood, and deli workers, is not tipping their hand. The two sides have been at odds for weeks over wages and health benefits, and last night, negotiations reached a boiling point when United Food and Commercial Workers Union President Brian Petronella sent this letter to Stop and Shop executives stating that their current collective bargaining contract will terminate on March 4th at 3 p.m. On their website, the UFCW posted this statement for their members. Quote, "The purpose of this letter was to let the company know that we are serious about getting a fair agreement for you." For their part, Stop and Shop is not commenting, but is digging in and sticking with the original plan to hire replacement workers. A plan that sounds good on paper, but will unfamiliar faces hurt Stop and Shop's bottom line?
It may matter to people that come to a particular Stop and Shop all the time and kind of have a relationship with people there, or maybe have a favorite cashier or something.
Where am I going to go? To some other store which I can't even get to? So I would come here, but I still am on the employee side. I do hope they work this out.
As shoppers go about their daily business, it's also business as usual for the other 4 employee unions as they work under current contract extensions with hopes to reach an agreement as soon as possible. In Newington, John Senecal, NBC, Connecticut News. Even though this latest storm is not hitting Connecticut as hard as our neighboring states, it is still creating backups at Bradley. As travelers arrived this morning, their first order of business, check the board for their flight status. The storm in the mid-Atlantic is playing havoc for flights in and out of Bradley. Would-be flyers hoped they wouldn't, but many did find those dreaded red letters next to their flights. Seasoned flyers like Samantha Walter were left scratching their heads when it came to how to get to their final destination.
I'm ending up in Dallas, routing through Philadelphia. Now they have me going through Reagan, going to Dallas, which is actually how they routed me on the way here a week ago.
For some travelers, they were lucky to get out. For others, it was a waiting game. For those travelers here at Bradley who did have some extra downtime due to the weather, it offers some great opportunity to catch up on some reading, or like Mandy is doing here,
Work.
everybody needs some extra time to do some more work. And there was a lot of work to be done, whether it was behind the counter, working the phones, or out on the tarmac, de-icing the planes. Airport personnel tried to stay ahead of the storm. Some of the hard work paid off, but there were some passengers who just had to cross their fingers and adopt the wait-and-see approach.
I think that I'll be okay. I'm originally supposed to go through Atlanta, so, Atlanta I think is pretty safe. I think the one I'm trying to get on is actually going through Cincinnati, so we'll see what happens. Only time will tell how much snow we'll get and if these passengers will get home in time for the weekend. In Windsor Locks, John Senecal, NBC, Connecticut News. It's an annual rite of passage. As temperatures get warmer and spring draws near, every driver and every car's worst little friend starts to appear. The dreaded pothole. There's certainly a pain in the rear, but when it comes to the automobile, potholes have more to do with the front end.
You can do a lot of damage. You can do ball joints, or you can do tie rod ends, and do a lot of damage to mostly front of the cars. This is wearing of the front end of a bad tie rod end.
He has no problems with this time of year. More potholes typically means more business. But for those frustrated drivers who've fallen victim, there's always a story to tell.
Didn't really see it. I didn't think it was that deep. And when I hit it, it shook the whole front of my car. And I'm not sure if it was a safety feature. It just shut the car off.
And even if you haven't had the pleasure of hitting one yet, they'll still keep you on your toes.
And it's really kind of dangerous because sometimes, you could lose control of your car. If you don't see it and you're right up on it and, you have to swerve.
Well, starting today, the city is to begin work on those potholes. Crews will be on patrol throughout the city, patching up as many as they can find. New Haven has also partnered with the website seeclickfix.com. So if you know the whereabouts of a pesky pothole, they ask you to log on and fill them in. It's an all-out effort to smooth things over and say goodbye to something every driver is tired of. In New Haven, John Senecal, NBC, Connecticut News. From Vancouver to Connecticut, snowboarder Sean White has got those young and old feeling the itch to get out and shred the mountain.
He's a really incredible athlete. And I've kind of seen him as I've been growing up snowboarding, and he's been kind of a inspiration to me.
I think that kid is a robot. That's what I think of Sean White. I think he is a robot. He's playing his own video game.
No PS3, Xbox, or Wii needed on this mountain. All these potential future Olympians need is the right attitude, and for now, a lot of practice. The key to any sport is starting young, and the Olympics has inspired many a Connecticut residents to get out here and hit the slopes. But anyone will tell you that you also have to look the part. So I got this snazzy NBC Connecticut jacket. Let's see if I can do it. Not bad, but I'm no Lindsey Vonn.
Lead by more than a half second.
Whether it's skiing or snowboarding, these Olympic hopefuls can wait. Right now, it's all about just having a good time. In New Hartford, John Senecal, NBC Connecticut News.
Leading off for Chatham from UCLA, number 4, shortstop Tyler Ramatula.
Welcome to Chatham, Massachusetts and Cape Cod League Baseball. For the past 125 years, this league has been home to some of the best amateur players in the country.
Three's not enough, let's go.
Plainfield, Connecticut's John Schiffner also calls Chatham home. The high school history teacher has been playing or coaching in this league for the majority of his adult life.
My old team, the Harwich Mariners, invited me to come back after I was done playing and coach with Harwich in 1977. Then I had what I consider the great opportunity. I came here in '78. Ed Lyons, the coach of Chatham, asked me to come to Chatham, and that's like the Yankees of, the Cape Cod League.
But that's where the comparisons stop. In this league, there are no big league contracts or luxury suites, and the players here learn every facet of the game.
Hey, any way you can, Tommy, here you go.
And Coach Schiff wouldn't have it any other way. Sure, he's had other opportunities, but every summer he's back at the helm of the Anglers.
Why do you coach in this league? It's because of the players. They're fantastic.
Players like Jesse Hahn and Matt Harvey, both former Fitch High School standouts, are now about to be college juniors with their eyes on the big prize.
I'd love to be a high draft pick next year, and this is the league to do it in. You see every game out here, we have scouts watching.
For now, they'll pass on their skills and knowledge to younger players and soak in everything a coach with over 400 victories has to offer. With nearly a quarter century of service under his belt here in the Cape Cod League, numerous league titles, and even having a Hollywood actor portray him in a movie, one would have to ask, what is next for Coach Schiff?
I want to be in Chatham, Massachusetts, coaching in the Cape Cod League. I think I have the best job in amateur baseball because I'm the manager of the Chatham Anglers in the Cape Cod Baseball League. You can't get much better than that.
The play, well, it may not be perfect, but it is summer, it is the Cape, and
it's the last best league because once you leave here, it's pro ball, and it's so different. This is pure.
In Chatham, Massachusetts, John Senecal, NBC Connecticut News. By 3 a.m., the DOT had all of their 650 plow trucks out on the roads. Although this latest round of snow didn't pack a major punch, there still was reason for concern.
Maybe the secondaries, that's about it. Maybe your off ramps, a little bit of snow, but otherwise we should keep a good handle on it.
The overnight conditions proved to have no issues, but the same could not be said for the morning drive. This latest round of snow made for a messy commute this morning. This street in Meriden remains covered with an icy mixture of slush and snow. But those who ventured out this morning onto the highways found that they could not hit speeds much faster than this. State police spent the morning busy with the numerous spinouts and fender benders that sprinkled the highways. While most drivers found the commute frustrating, others offered this advice.
Steady and slow. Steady and slow. Take your time. Don't go brake crazy, and you make it through it.
For those who didn't venture out this morning, there was still plenty of work to be done at home. Joe Gracie spent the morning removing the snow from his driveway, all the while looking forward to the not-so-distant future.
You take it, comes another couple of months, we'll be cutting grass.
A positive perspective on this latest round of winter weather. Still, there are those who seem to have had enough of the white stuff.
My father just told me he bought a house down in Florida, so yeah, I'm starting to get sick of it real quick. Yeah.
You ready for Florida now?
Yeah, I'm ready to visit.
Warm thoughts on another cold and snowy day. In Meriden, John Senecal, NBC Connecticut News. Overnight, the silence in this North End neighborhood was broken by the sound of gunfire. But when Hartford police got on scene, they encountered something totally different.
Huge. Big flames.
That's how one resident of Pembroke Street describes the scene just shortly after midnight. The boom was the fire that engulfed this burned-out Mazda 3 with New Jersey plates. Once the fire was put out, police discovered a body inside.
We heard about 8 pops. And then the fire, they wanted them dead.
Hartford PD's Major Crimes is handling the investigation. However, they will not say if the body is that of a male or female. Police spent hours overnight looking over the car and searching for evidence. Once daylight broke, the medical examiner removed the remains and police got a closer look inside the car, searching for clues into this suspicious death. Residents tell NBC Connecticut they saw several men in the area of the crime scene. Who they are and what, if any, involvement they may have played is unclear. What is clear is residents in this normally quiet Blue Hills neighborhood are unsettled.
Crazy. This is nuts. This doesn't happen around here. This is a quiet neighborhood. Lots of children.
Normally it is safe. There's really been any incidents since I've been living over here like this.
While police questioned residents and canvassed the area, the charred vehicle was removed, which allowed detectives to poke through the scene for any possible evidence left behind. Still, many questions surround this latest death, questions residents hope can be answered fast. In Hartford, John Senecal, NBC Connecticut News. Hartford police here on the scene of yet another bank robbery, the latest in a string of heists across the capital city. However, police say this time they hold a key piece of evidence. I'm John Senecal. I'll show you that evidence coming up in a live report. As this long dry spell continues and with no foreseeable rain in the near future, the best advice you can take is his. And remember, only you can prevent forest fires. In Farmington, John Senecal, NBC 30 News. And with these test results comes new concerns. The DEP believes that if PCB levels continue to rise in this river, they may have to close it to all recreational fishing. Pay at the pump, yep, but if you think you've got it bad, consider this. Motorists in much of Europe pay on average $1.30 per liter of gasoline, which equates to roughly $6 a gallon here in the States. Something for you to consider next time you're filling up. In New Britain, John Senecal, NBC 30 News. Residents of Winstead are seeing something strange these days on High Street.
I think it's disgusting.
I think that's ridiculous. That is disgusting.
What's got them burning is this, a house dotted with large marijuana leaves and the word hemp.
Takes a second to warm up.
Chris Seekins is the man behind all the fuss. He did the painting as a statement. A month ago, Winstead police raided his house and confiscated 93 pot plants from this room. He contests they were just hemp plants, and
I was doing some research.
So why 93 hemp plants for research? Why not grow other plants?
I had about 50 strands from around the world of all types of plants. So actually I did.
If convicted of all these charges, Seekins could be facing up to 30 years in prison. So one might ask the question, why this and why now?
A lot of good people in America are doing a lot of jail time. They're growing the same crop that Thomas Jefferson and George Washington grew. First two drafts of the Constitution were written on. The newest studies say all it does is increase brain function, and it's really a shame, and I want to bring some attention to it.
His statement violates no town ordinance, and Seekins plans to keep it up right through his trial, during which he'll be representing himself.
I was going to argue the case on Friday. The state's attorney called me up yesterday. It seems he couldn't make it. So I don't know if he needs more time or what, but I granted him a month continuance. No problem with that. I already got the case beat, not worried about it.
Looks like we're getting ready for the switch.
It may look like a battle of machines, but what it really is, a battle of the brains. It's the annual robotics competition where teams from high schools across the country compete. Some teams have it mastered, while others are simply doing circles. Team 228 from Meriden found out the hard way that sometimes hard work doesn't pay off.
It was quite scary actually because, you know, you're going up the ramp at the last couple of seconds and you're all like, all right, and then you're tipping back and it's like, oh, no.
However, this competition is about far more than winning.
There's a shortage of engineers moving forward in the country, and programs like this help build that from the grassroots with the kids moving up to college and studying it and moving on.
So what's the secret now, before they take it to the next level?
Teamwork. I think teamwork is definitely the best one.
Words to live by and build on as they roll out the robots for competitions all weekend at the Convention Center. In Hartford, John Senecal, NBC 30 News. The only thing that worries me is, you know, Stanton's got a lot of time left on his deal.
So does Garrett Cole.
And yes, but Garrett Cole isn't a position player, so I'm not so much worried about that. Okay. But you're going to need to spell Stanton if he's around his whole length of his contract. And, you know, DJ probably won't be a second baseman at 38.
And he doesn't have great power numbers for DH, though, either. Could he go to first?
Yes, he played first 2 years ago for him. I mean, he can play. I'm sure that guy can play anywhere. I mean, he is an excellent baseball player, and it's a great deal for the Yankees. We always come back, Brian. We always come back. We came back after '94. We came back after the steroids. You know, and it shows if you look in the history.
it was like the steroid era. They overlooked it because they wanted us to come back. They wanted us to see him hitting 65, 70 home runs a year. And now they shun those guys and leave them out of the Hall of Fame. But I spent the last 20 years of my life living in Connecticut. And for me personally, this is ground zero for the Yankees Red Sox rivalry, where I live in New England. So that just kind of manifested for me. And the more and more I thought about it, the more and more I wanted to do this. You're worried about you want some fans, you want to go watch some games. Yeah, they'll definitely play unless there's a big turn of events because they've proven they can do it during a pandemic. So,
but do you think there'll be fans?
I think so. As long as they have the vaccine rolled out like they say they're going to do, which that won't happen. They'll still push it back or something, or they won't get it to the population that's going to be going to watching sporting events. You know what I'm saying? So, which is fine. Which is totally fine. Do it the right way. Let's just say that.
I would love to ask major league hitters, especially nowadays, but over the course of the career, what it is like, how hard it is for them to actually hit a pitch coming that slow in a game situation.
Right.
Not knowing. I mean, knowing it is going to be that slow, but not knowing with the knuckleball in the play, because you could try sneak a fastball by him, like R.A. Dickey would. He would throw a faster fastball than Wakefield ever could, and he was a knuckleballer. Right. But I mean, I would think a Major League Baseball player is more apt to hit a ball mid to upper 80s any day over a pitch in the mid 60s.